Hi, I'm Scott Krijnen, and I play cello. I've been playing cello for a long time, but whenever I practice, I still try and find the easiest way to play at the highest level possible, which means I go very slowly, and there's a lot of mental practicing as I'm physically moving my fingers and hands across the instrument. For example, if I'm just trying to work on my sound, which is something I work on every day, I want to play an open string. Now, an open string is the simplest way for me to make a sound on the instrument. So I'll place my bow on the string, I'll collect myself, I'll balance my body, I'll feel the weight in my arm and shoulder, I'll make sure I can feel the string, and as I do all of that, my body adjusts to its training, which has been for years teachers helping me be relaxed, using my natural weight as opposed to forcing the sound. As I'm practicing my down and up bows and working towards different places on the bow, the tip of the frog, there's all these variables that are happening. The frog is heavy, the tip is light, and I have to manage the arm weight as well as the angles of the bow in comparison to the bridge, making sure that it's parallel over this arch, as well as making sure that the contact point, whether or not the bow is near the bridge or near the fingerboard, changing all the sound. So this very complex algorithm, I want to work on all those things, but again, in its simplest form, which is an open string. As I let my body adjust to those sounds, then I might add my left hand. Some sort of simple exercises to just warm up my fingers to make sure that even after 31 years, I'm still going to the correct places. I don't have frets, so I have to have very specific placement of my fingers to be in tune. I make sure that my cello is set up the way it needs to be. I make sure that my chair is the correct height. I relax my body, and then I'm able to play. If I'm tired, or if I'm stressed, or I'm having a hard time focusing, when I play with my first finger on the cello, I might have tension in my thumb as I press into the fingerboard. Well, that's not how you're supposed to play. You want to make sure that the hand is pulling into the instrument. So again, I breathe, I relax, and I listen. Warms up, as my ear warms up, I can add other things, like I can play it against my open D string so I can hear intonation as well as tone quality, as well as seeing if I'm balanced. I can add more notes. Checking in to make sure my back is loose, that my neck is balanced, and not squeezing any tension in my jaw or grabbing with my hands. So all this to say is, if you're going through something and it's hard, try and go slower. Try and think about what the challenge is as opposed to beating you up for having a challenge. If I got mad at myself for every single time I played a note out of tune or I made a sound that wasn't what I hoped on the cello, I'd be the most depressed human on the planet. But when I hear something that isn't what I want, I think about why that happened and what exercise I can do to make it better. So if I need to do a better job shifting from one position to the other, okay, if I didn't like the way I shifted from first finger E to first finger A, I might isolate just that problem. Or maybe my string crossings aren't clean. Most of you know this. And the camera might not have shown it, but my bow didn't catch the string the way I wanted to, so it wasn't as resonant and warm as possible. So instead of saying, ah man, 31 years and you still can't play open strings, I think to myself, oh, that's interesting. I was a little bit tight in my shoulder, and maybe, let's see, okay, let's do G to D to A. That's better. I'm warmed up a little bit. I can feel my knuckles softening in my right hand on my bow hand, and I can feel my knuckles grabbing the strings so that the sound can be resonant and natural. And I can add the notes back in. And in that course of performing it, there were certainly some nice things, but there would be some things that I would want to work on with intonation. And so if I'm trying to play, if I'm being really honest, and I'm just listening, I hear, okay, it wasn't totally in tune. I felt a little bit uncomfortable when I had to play first finger B and I had to play G. When I lifted my first finger, I felt tension going through my arm. So I might just develop this exercise. Right now what I'm focusing on is releasing my first finger from the string and making sure my thumb isn't tight. Ah, good. Okay, so it wasn't tense because I'm a bad person. It's tense because my thumb was just using a little bit too much tension. So that's a way that I've learned how to practice, because when I was younger, I had a really hard time separating my ability with my self-worth. So if I heard mistakes, I didn't think of myself as good a person. And I felt like I was behind and other people were better than me, and I was stuck in a comparative narrative, which is not healthy, and it's a bad place to start your practicing when you're so concerned about everybody else. So I would suggest to slow down, to listen, and just be a detective. Try and figure out why things aren't working, and then develop slow techniques. Now the last part of it is, this video is 6 minutes, and I showed you solutions that were happening within seconds. Well, there's many times where it took me not just days, but weeks and months to really understand and learn what was happening in my body. And there are some things that my teacher tried to teach me at 15 that I didn't understand until I was 25 or 30. You're gonna become more and more aware, and as you get better with your ear, as you listen more and more, then you have more to look at and more to research. It's a little bit like, you've probably been throwing a ball for a long time. Like when you threw when you were 6, you threw it a certain way. You're still basically throwing a ball the same way now that you're 15, 16, 17 years old as far as your arm moves forward, but you have much more command. You can understand visual spacing a lot better. You can understand how fast to throw it, why you might throw it that way, what the ball feels like in your fully grown hand as opposed to an oversized ball in a tiny 6-year-old hand. There's so many things that are changing. You're constantly adapting to that environment. And as you get older, you get more perspective on what those things are. Good luck practicing. If you ever need anything, always reach out to your teachers. We sign up for this particular profession because we like to help others. And I thank you for doing your very best. Hope everyone's staying safe. Thanks so much.